Hello everyone, my name's Thomas, and today we're showing you how to take this pile of parts and turn it into one of these, an Assassin Combat Wing by Crash Test Hobbies. For a little bit of backstory, at the local flying club where I do most of my training, we actually do a lot of combat flying. We do a lot of combat flying with the other pilots, so flying these Assassin wings. They're basically, as far as durability goes, the closest thing you can get to a mini quad in the fixed wing space. So we deliberately go out there and hit each other out of the skies. It's some of the most fun you can have. We recently did a group buy, so we made this build video to sort of showcase how to assemble one of these, and figured we may as well post it up in case anyone wants to hop in on the fun. With that, over to Graeme.
The first step, I think, is just to glue these two halves together, two wings together. And you don't have to go crazy with this glue here. It's really just around the perimeter is the important.
Just normal hot glue?
Yeah, nothing special about it. If it's really cold weather, you can hit that with a hot air gun, but you really don't need to this time of year. And in just a few seconds, that should be holding okay. So we're just copying another Assassin just to determine where the spar goes, and it looks like it's at about 37 mils from the back there. So just put that one away, and it really, some would say it's very critical as to where the spar goes and where the C or G is, but there's a lot of leeway with these. And you can be a little bit further forward, a little bit further back, and it really doesn't seem to make much difference. The carbon fibre spar gets embedded down in this, and I will do some more measurements here just to make sure that I get it symmetrical. This tiny little spar is amazing, our expectations of what it can do. That's 35 there, and okay, just gonna hack into this.
So I'm assuming a very nice sharp blade?
Yes, yeah. Now I can see it. Now we can go deeper. I like to embed this a little bit below the top surface, so that when you do the engine mount, you don't have to chop into the engine mount.
That makes sense.
So far.
Because the engine mount's actually embedded, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
So this is just the test fit, isn't it?
Yeah, just to make sure I've gone deep enough and far enough up here. And just to make sure that there's good adhesion on this, I just give it a bit of a rub just to take off the shininess. You don't have to do it a great deal.
Wow, that is a yellow colour, isn't it?
Yeah, my technique of getting these the same is looking at them from the edge like that and seeing how high the piles are.
Oh, okay.
And then this needs a little bit of an extra on this one.
I'm in agreement.
It's not really hard to poke this down that cut. And you just keep doing it, and it just keeps dragging it down. And it's more, you go by feel. You can feel that it's, the stick is actually very slippery all the way through that slot. So you know you've really got it down deep into the cavity. You can feel that it's still very slippery down in there, so that it's obviously has got sufficient there. Yeah, methylated spirits. Cleans it off, doesn't hurt the foam, does a perfect job.
I always panic about what I use on foam.
Yeah, this stuff is so durable for so many other different things, with different paints and things that you can put on it.
Yeah.
It's nice stuff to use. Just put that on there just to help keep it the joint closed while it cures. It's amazing how incredibly durable they are, and some of the crashes that we've had and the big hits, when they go slamming into the ground, you expect something to be broken. Something we've done on the earlier ones is chop this little corner off the wing.
Oh, okay.
And if you're not using wingtips, that really sort of helps with the stability, to stop too much of the yaw effect, and just to make it stable in the air. But if you're using wingtips, you don't really need this little chop out here. So on this one, my plan is to use these different wingtips.
Oh wow, we've got upgraded ones, have we?
So yeah, well, slightly. That's the shape of what we were using, or have been using, and these ones now are identical all the back here.
Yep.
But they're longer in the front.
Oh wow.
Because we're leaving this corner on here, these wingtips now will go pretty much there, where they're coming a lot further forward.
Wow.
Doesn't make much difference, but the wider spacing
That
here,
should help, I think, for sure.
yeah, these are quite narrow, whereas these are further apart. It should just give them a bit more stability and stop them getting knocked around in crashes. So I think that'll work pretty well. So that angle there, and then a parallel one here. I'll do this a bit more accurate, but that will be back to the same as what the previous Assassin was. And it should give us a nice, accurate, parallel cut. And we've got to make sure we make a left and a right, and we don't just do them the same. So same thing again, but this one's upside down compared to the previous one. That's them done. One of the tricks with this I've found is to stop it getting wrinkly, you in effect wipe the iron on it.
Oh, okay.
Don't just hold it on
Yep.
in one spot, but put it on and drag it.
So what's your iron set to? Highest temperature?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is. This stuff will take a lot of heat, but if you hold the iron on in one spot
Okay.
for too long, it it'll melt the foam underneath.
Yep.
So yeah, just be careful of that. So putting it on and wiping it.
So you're wiping immediately, aren't you?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
If you just sort of hold it down, it will work, but it'll tend to sort of create little wrinkles under there. There's always doing a wipe. You can avoid that. and the strength. And once it's done, it's like a piece of solid balsa wood. It's very strong. And it's that easy.
And the same on the other side, I assume?
Yep. Do the other end. Okay, after doing this, you can see that it's got some little air bubbles there, so just give them a couple of little pops. And then just hit it with the iron again. And it probably makes them look a little bit better, but perhaps more importantly, it ensures that it's got the strength there. So I'll just set up the Dremel, just mark them so I can see them a bit easier.
That's directly over the carbon?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure that there's a better way to do it. It's I just keep putting it on until I sort of think, well, that seems pretty strong.
Very nice ironing there.
You should see me with shirts. Thing is, if it's not right, and I've done it many times, where you just pull it off and do it again. Yeah, and that's got quite a comfortable sort of a gap. So then we hold him this way. That gives it a nice, easy travel now. And then what we've got to do is put the clear film over both sides, and that protects it from the sunlight, from UV. Otherwise that tape will go all soft and brittle and go yellow. But with this on the top, it protects it. And this stuff is so thin you can't tell that it's even there. So I'll just do the one first, and then once he's in, then I'll get the others.
I think it's good having that thicker plywood, something solid to screw to.
Yeah, I mean, since we've been using the thick plywood, we've never had one have any problems at all. These are just a bit of an experiment, these wing tips, but you've got to try it, I guess. Just using different sizes to expand the hole a little bit so that the hex piece can go in there. That's a nice tight fit.
So the same deal here, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Just expand it out a little bit. If you twist it a lot as it goes in, it tends not to tear the EPP foam.
It's looking like an aircraft now.
It is. The wingtips just give it a bit of character, don't they?
Definitely.
And she'll be able to take a pretty good collision and not bother it.
Perfect.
But they'll do the job to help it fly much slower. I like the battery sort of relatively forward, and you know, you can't go too much more forward than that, but it seems to work fine in about that position. The battery strap, leave enough room between there and the nose so that you can put the battery strap through there. And a lot of people like to go in there with the battery strap. I like it to go all the way back here, because then I use it on this particular one for the plug for the FPV camera, if I put that on, but also just the bind plug for the extension. So if someone else wants to fly this, they can bind it using that, and by having that just tucked in under the same strap that holds the battery in, it's pretty simple. And then underneath, I always put some clear over the top of it. Needs a bit of a tidy up because it's starting to deteriorate, but at least it keeps it clean and stops all the grass and muck getting involved on that Velcro. So it's just a good way to do it.
Perfect.
The other thing I like to do, at this part of the wing, it's very thick, or anywhere along here is the thick part of the wing. So you can really dig your servo in nice and deep, leave as little of it out as possible.
Graeme marked out where the servos would go, which is pretty much as far forward as practical in the thickest part of the wing. This allows you to get the servos down as far as possible so as to protect them from collisions. Once you've marked out where the servos will go, along with marking the control rods, you need to reshape the control horns. Graeme does this using a Dremel tool, and once shaped, it's time to create the slot for the horns to poke through. The horn is secured using hot glue. The next step is getting all the electronics working and binding your receiver to your transmitter. Once this is done, it's time to cut out the pockets for the servos, noting you will need to get those servos down pretty deep. This is the approximate location of my servos. The CG is on the carbon spar, but note, as previously mentioned, the CG has a reasonable amount of leeway. Battery sits as far forward so as to achieve CG, as do most of the electronics. What we have here is a battery strap Velcro along with the rest of the electronics. This is my receiver location along with the routing for my receiver antennas. Thank you for watching this video, and a massive thanks to Graeme for sharing his years of knowledge when it comes to building and breaking these Assassins.